Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your January 15th through the 31st connection session. We're going to be looking at you and your person of interest, the energy between the two of you, as well. Oh, okay. As well as how your person thinks and feels about you. Two cards just flew out. As well as how your person thinks and feels about your sweet mother. What is going on here? Okay. Um, Gosh, okay. The cards are like, shut up, stop with the intro, and freaking get to the reading. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these cards for how they're thinking and feeling about you, just for continuity here. So I don't have you guys here all day and whatnot or whatever. Move my mouse over. Okay, so looking first at your energy, you guys have the Ace of Cups and the Six of Coins in the reverse. So what it's looking like, Virgo, you guys, and specifically in reference to your person of interest, you do love this person. And I said the same thing to another sign because I have new subbies. Welcome, new subbies. I haven't had new subbies in a really long time, but welcome. But just a little thing about how it is that I see aces in tarot. Whenever I see, an ace, my belief is that the 10 exists within the ace, but it's more or less in like seed form, if you will. So it's kind of starting out on a journey to the 10 of cups. So I do feel for my Virgos, you guys do have deep feelings for your person of interest. There is a desire for this to grow into something that is fulfilling and for you guys to be connected on a deep level. However, you are in the beginning stages of this love connection, if we could say it that way. However, with the Six of Coins in the reverse, it's more or less, and I'm going to say this two ways because I don't know yet. We ain't really getting to the cards, but it's either you guys are feeling that you're investing more into this partnership than your person of interest is, or you guys are aware of the fact that your person is investing, more into this than you are presently. So it could very much be that the Six of Coins is saying that you're holding back this potential cup of love. So it's one or the other. Either you guys are holding back this offer to this person, or you feel as if your person is kind of holding back from you. Now, getting into your person of interest, we have the Seven of Cups. So your person of interest is confused. I don't want to say with the Seven of Cups that it's more or less between you and other people, but we'll get into that in a second. But more or less for them, I feel that it's a lot going on. Kind of the vibe I get from this is kind of feeling almost like a fear of them, of like FOMO, you know what I'm saying, of missing out on opportunities, or feeling like it's very much like a Sagittarius kind of energy, believe it or not. Yeah, it feels very much like a Sag energy to me, where it's like the world is their oyster. There's so much to do. There's so much to see, so many people to engage with, so much stuff to learn. And that's kind of the head space and heart space, I would go as far as to say that they're in now. It's like this person is like adventurous. And it's a lot of, and I mean, let me just be honest. And this is not me saying this in a negative, talking about myself, but literally like what wanted to come out of my mouth is like, they're a little ADHD and I'm ADHD. So, you know what I'm saying? There's no harm there, because it's like, we're just kind of like shiny squirrel. I even feel like being a Gemini Venus, I'm kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like new, fresh things are exciting. I'm a Gemini rising as well, so it could have a lot to do with that. But anyway, but I feel with your person of interest, it's like them being in love with life and just experiences, kind of like an adrenaline junkie too. It's just, there's so much stuff in this world for them to be like enthralled by. That's kind of like the space that they're living in. And that could be potentially why it is, Virgo, that it's, you guys presently feeling at one point it's kind of one-sided. Like, you got your cup and you're like, hey, and they're like, oh my gosh, look at all of the things, shiny squirrels, wow, so much stuff and things, you know what I'm saying? So the energy between the two of you, oh, that's interesting. we have the Four of Coins. So there's a level of the two of you kind of holding back from each other. Now, looking at you guys, Virgo, it's more or less that I feel for you guys, this gives me more context, where it's kind of you guys holding back your cup of love. So it's being interested in this person, seeing a future with them, seeing potential of where this connection could go between the two of you. But I feel it's kind of like you're protecting your heart in a sense, because it's like, I don't want to open up to this person, especially if, because with them, I mean, I wish you guys could see how this looks on my table. Is like, oh, dude is like enthralled with the stuff and the things, right? And it's like Virgo's over here, like, I don't know about this. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And now on their side with this Four of Coins, I don't necessarily think per se that they're intentionally holding themselves back from you. I just feel they're just focused on a lot of other stuff. So if I were to put this into context, it's not necessarily that they're focused on a whole bunch of other people per se, but it's just that they're really focused on life, and that makes them not focused on the connection per se. You know what I'm saying? Because of a lot of distractions that are going on, and that's why it would feel like to you on your end that they're holding back from you. So it's not that they're intentionally holding back, it's just that they're focused on a lot of other stuff. That's still not necessarily a good thing, because if the two of you want to be in a partnership together, right, there has to be the Six of Coins being upright. Like there has to be a reciprocity. As much energy as you're putting in, that person has to put that in as well. If their energies are split into jumping out of planes and bungee jumping off of buildings and, whatever the case, whatever it is your person has going on, like traveling to different countries, like immersing themselves in the culture. If all of that is going on and the relationship is kind of an afterthought, it's more or less understanding to me on your end why it is that you guys are holding back, And another way we could look at this too, and we'll get more into that as we jump into how they think and feel about you. This could also be kind of like a distraction for the person just because they're non-committal. You know what I'm saying? With this person, it could very well be that there's a fear with them of committing because of them being so enthralled with adventure and all of these things that, they could be fraternizing with in life. It's the thought of, if I settle down with a person, it could, be a block from me being able to experience these things. So that's another reason why you guys can be feeling this blocked kind of Four of Pentacles energy from your person of interest. So now getting into their thoughts and feelings about you. And for those of you who aren't familiar, how I do this spread, I'm looking at their fleeting thoughts, which is kind of like information they're weighing, or thoughts that are kind of jetting in and out of their head, when they're doing mindless activities and whatnot. How they consciously think about you. So them, what they're aware of how it is that they're viewing you and seeing you at present, their subconscious impressions and projections. So that's where it is that they are internally that they're not aware of, but what they're 10 times out of 10 projecting onto you. And lastly, their feelings for you. So the first card in their fleeting thoughts, we have the Four of Cuppies. Interesting. Next card we have is the Nine of Coins in the reverse. If my camera would be a nice machine, and I don't think homegirl is for it on today. I'm trying to move my eye out because it has face recognition. I think that's as good as we're going to get here, Virgo. All right. And then the next card, the last card they have for their fleeting thoughts, we have the Five of Swords. Interesting. And then the card for their conscious thoughts. Oh, geez. We have the Hierophant. Oh, my gosh. Seriously, right now? Okay. We have the Hierophant in the reverse. So this is interesting. So, Virgo, your person of interest, how it is that they're more or less viewing you, they're seeing you in a different light than how they perceive themselves. Like with this Four of Cups, it's like they kind of more or less see you sometimes like you have a plethora of opportunities to act on things, but they don't really feel like, I don't want to say feel like, it's like they don't perceive it in the sense of you taking full advantage of opportunities that are awarded to you. You know what I'm saying? And seeing this in accordance with this 9 of cups in the reverse, it's kind of this perspective of like being like a sideline spectator of life. And I'm saying, I'm not saying I understand this like from my own perspective, but I mean, with this energy I'm picking up from your person with the 7 of cups, it's like I can get how a person like that would see it that way, because for them it's like, adventure, taking chances. It's like, a new restaurant every week. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, as a fellow earth sign, Virgo, you guys are not half as bad as us Taurians are with this consistency thing. But I feel with all earth signs, there is a level of, consistency. You guys aren't half, because I mean, I'm fixed, child. Like, I am stuck in my ways for the foreseeable future. But with Virgo, you guys are a little bit more malleable in that, but there's still a level of consistency and stability that you guys like to have as an earth sign, right? Being able to put 10 toes down. So from a person who's coming from more of, a cardinal or like airy or fiery kind of disposition, which is kind of what I'm feeling for your person. So they could be a cardinal sign, they could be, an air sign, they could be a fire sign. I don't really feel too much water sign per se, but anyway, but it's, I can understand from their perspective how they could see it that way. That doesn't mean that that's necessarily true about you, because of course this is their perspective, but it's more or less that with this 9 of coins, they feel like you're not living up to your fullest potential. So how they're seeing you is there's so much more you could be doing, but they feel like you're not. You know what I'm saying? And then when we get into this 5 of swords, I feel like this is kind of a bit of like doubt that they're having, of wondering like, am I setting myself up for the okey doke? Am I fighting like a losing battle here? Like, should I really be considering, being with Virgo? Are we really like a good match? And that kind of takes me back to this 4 of coins and their 7 of cups, of where I was saying that not that the things that they're doing are purposefully done as a distraction, but more or less like them kind of staying busy a lot to kind of create a distance between the two of you to protect their own safety. You know what I'm saying? So with this Hierophant in the reverse being in their conscious thoughts, it's like they see you kind of as like a traditional person. And I know that sounds cray cray, but it's like them seeing you in the sense of a traditional person, counterintuitive to where they are. You know what I'm saying? So there isn't really so much of like an innovation on your end, and them more or less seeing it from, and I'm trying to be nice when I say this, y'all. And this isn't me saying this. I'm just going by what I'm seeing in this person's cards. But it's like I don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings or anything, but it's more or less like them seeing the potential in you, right? To where you could be a little bit more like them, where you could like kind of like, because I would say this person has tried before to kind of push you out of your comfort zone, unless like this is a newer type of thing. If this is a newer type of thing, I think the person's like attracted to you, but they question like if you guys would be a good match. But if you guys have been dealing with each other for some time, it's like I still feel it's like they're interested in you as a person, but when it comes to lifestyles, it's like a mismatch. But I feel for your person of interest, it's like they see that potential in you, but they feel like you're not living up to that potential. And that's the thing that kind of has them fearful. So an example of how this would look, right, would be, say hypothetically, if you met this person, I don't know, like in college or something, right? And you were like a super like party girl, always going out, super social, you know what I'm saying? And, just like wild, fun, crazy, taking chances, whatever, whatever, right? And you more or less were showing up like that because, say, maybe you had like a little crush on him or something. So you're like, I want to be a fun girl. He's the fun guy that's like, doing keg stands or whatever, if the kids are still doing stuff like that, I could have said something really funny there, but I'm going to stop. Moving right along. But it's like, doing stuff like that. So your thought is like, I'm going to show my kind of fun side, or maybe that's just how you were at that particular time. Or like I said, the energy I'm picking up on is more or less like kind of, bringing that part out of you a little bit more to kind of put yourself in the circle with this person. And then it's like you guys end up dating, and then it's like kind of going back to how it is that you really are, you know what I'm saying? So if it's the person where you were super fun and all this stuff back in the day, it's like you've gotten a little older and now you're kind of at the place where you don't really want to be out every night. It's like, I have my person, I'm with my person. So it's like I don't really see the need to like go, bar hopping and stuff like that. Or if you kind of heightened that part of you, you kind of went back to your baseline, which is, like, I don't really like to go out that much, I'm kind of a homebody. But I feel for both of those examples, the idea or the goal or the desire for both of you is really to be like in a commitment. Like, so your thought is like, I want to be committed, I want to get married, I want to have a family, like I want a stable partnership kind of deal, right? And with your person, for them, it's kind of like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I thought that this connection with us was going to be, us going out and traveling and doing this and that. And there's kind of like a difference in what Virgo is wanting and what your person of interest is wanting for their life. But the thing is, like I say, I keep going back to this because I feel like it's important. Your person of interest sees this in you, right? Or saw it in you past tense. And it's like them being in this space of kind of like, why are they just wanting to stay at home? You know what I mean? Like Fridays, they're just wanting to stay home and they're like, oh, why don't we just like stay in or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Or if there's some sort of like hobby or gift or talent that you have, maybe you fraternized with that at one point in time and you're not really doing so much of it anymore. And I feel like those were the things that your person was really drawn to you about. And it's not and then, okay, that's interesting. My guys always be coming in like I be on a roll and then they just be throwing stuff in. And I know y'all be seeing it in my face. It's just like I'm just riding my bike and they just throw a stick in it. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So the thing that they just said is that, and this isn't for everyone, but some of you, this could be like a long-term partner and like you had a kid, Virgo, like on the Virgo side, like you had a kid and things shifted. So it's kind of like you slowed down and your person still kind of, kept going full throttle type of thing. Like their lifestyle hasn't really changed. That's not for everyone. It's probably like for one person, but whatever the case, with this Hierophant in the reverse, it's like they want you to break from tradition, but it's like they're not really it's like all the stuff that's coming to me. It's like, I don't want to say it because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so like mean, because it's almost like them seeing it as you being kind of like a stick in the mud, but knowing that that's not who and how you are, because they see different in you. They see different potential in you. And I do feel that there's a little bit of consciousness here, like an awareness of you being kind of bothered by how it is that they're maneuvering. But I think it's like, and I'm seeing this between this 4 of coins, this 7 of cups, and this 5 of swords, and this 4 of cups. It's almost like what their hope would be is it's almost turning a blind eye to it and just hoping when I look back at it that it's fixed. It's like almost leading by example. Like if Virgo sees me fraternizing with all of these things, that maybe you'd get the message and kind of go along with them. But what it is I'm seeing is I feel like you guys are in kind of 2 different places. You know what I'm saying? And with your person, it's just a lot going on with them. I don't necessarily like, I feel that, yes, they are an adventurous person, but I feel that the way that they're maneuvering at present is them kind of making this behavior like a tad teetering into like the toxic arena, just because they're using it as a distraction and it's not having a conversation or being clear about how it is that they're thinking in the midst of all of this. And it's either turning a blind eye to it, thinking the things that they're thinking and not having a conversation with you, not including you in it. And it's just kind of leaving you here almost like feeling like you're in a relationship by yourself, if that makes sense. Now, looking at their subconscious impression and projection, oh man, we have the sun in the reverse. That's Leo energy. And by the way, the Hierophant is Taurus energy, if that is relevant to you all. But with the sun in the reverse, whenever that comes out, I look at the sun in the reverse as my half-hearted happiness card. That's when things are looking copacetic on the exterior, but it's like behind the scenes, things aren't, as rainbows and roses, so to speak. But more or less, with this being in their subconscious impressions and projections, where your person is, they're in a place where they're not truly happy where it is that they are right now, but it's in their subconscious. So this is something that they're like refusing to acknowledge, right? They're not accepting or acknowledging the fact that they're not truly happy, and they're projecting that onto you. So I see this happen a lot, because whenever we're not ready to face like a hidden truth within ourselves, a lot of times we'll blame other people. So I feel that's where all of this is coming from, with them saying like, oh, they're not adventurous, they're a stick in the mud. And it's like, oh, they have so much potential to do this, but they're not doing it. They're not living up to their potential. I feel all of that is really a projection, because the state that they're in this partnership right now, they're not happy within themselves. And I don't feel that this has anything to do with you. It's just, I feel, and this, okay, well, thank you guys. I like that. And that makes perfect sense. Okay. So, you know how I said adrenaline junkie? A lot of times, and I see this a lot in like addictions, right? Like addictive behavior. So whether this is like gambling, like all the people are doing now with betting on sports and all of that, or if it's like shopping like crazy, like every day you have stuff coming from Amazon, you know what I'm saying? Or, whatever the case, whatever it is, like addictive behaviors where it's different things that you're engaging in to try to get a dopamine high. Like that's a lot of times what adrenaline junkies can be. Like you like fast cars and, like I said, jumping out of planes, jumping off of buildings. And it's because you're looking for that rush and for that high. So all of these new different experiences, it's literally heightening, the feel good chemicals in your brain, and it's consistently chasing that, right? This can be something that manifests as well with literal like addiction, you know what I'm saying? And chasing that high, because being non-sober, right? Whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever, it's like being non-sober is the high that you're chasing, because it's not wanting to be in reality or to feel your feelings, because it's not wanting to face that deep down inside, I'm really not that happy. So it's not wanting to face that void, in so many words. So with your person, I'm seeing this in the context of it being a person who stays hella busy and has always got their hands in things, but this very well could be with it being the 7 of Cups, you know what I'm saying? It very well could be that this person drinks a lot, or they're into drugs, or like, I know there's people who are getting really into like ketamine. I mean, ketamine's fine to use. I'm not talking about street drugs here, but I'm saying there's literally a form of trauma therapy that utilizes ketamine. Like if you were to do it in that context with like a licensed medical professional, that's understandable. But I'm saying in the sense of like hallucinogenics and stuff, where a person is doing this not under the direction of a medical professional, but it's like a person who, because there's people who are like this dude, and I don't understand these people for the life of me. Yes, that's totally me being judgmental, but too bad. But people who like chase awakening by doing hallucinogens, you know what I'm saying? Like people who get woke by doing drugs and stuff like that, I feel like that's cheating. That's just my personal, judgment and preference with that. I feel like that's cheating, because, to have a blissful experience with the divine through like being sober, it's a whole nother experience. But I feel like you're kind of cheating and skipping steps when you do it through drugs, because it's like you're missing a whole shit ton of steps. And I think that's why people end up going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when they end up having like these ayahuasca freaking hallucinogenic experiences, because it's a lot of groundwork that you have to get and be settled in order heading into the ethers before you're spiritually mature enough, it's like you end up seeing things that you have no reference human form, and then when you come here, you're just like cuckoo for cocoa puffs. It's like I'm kind of getting that could be this thing is that's kind of enthralling your person of interest. You know what I'm saying? If they're really into like chasing their awakening through ayahuasca retreats and freaking hallucinogens and things of the sort, you know what I'm saying? But at the root of this, with the sun in the reverse in their subconscious area, is really speaking to the truth that the person is running away from something, right? It's something with them that they're unhappy about, that they're using all of this, you know, adrenaline junkie, drugs, drinking, whatever, and using that to get away from them being unhappy. And they're also simultaneously projecting that onto you of like, oh my gosh, what kind of life is Virgo living? Like, that's just so like, it's so unfulfilling. Like they just want to stay home all the time. So I say that to say, Virgo, it really isn't about you. This is a battle that's happening with your person within themselves, and they're projecting this onto you. So this more or less puts you in a place of where, like I say, with this 5 of Swords and this 4 of Coins, is really being clear on, is this conducive to progress? Is this a relationship that really has the potential for longevity? Because it looks very clear to me that you guys are in 2 very different places. Now, getting to the last card, their feelings for you, we have the Fool. So I mean, that's a positive thing. It's like they're feeling like, you know, we could start fresh, you know what I'm saying? But the only thing that I'm concerned about with that is, and I have my concerns, but I feel like this is a question you'd have to pose to yourself, Virgo. They feel that there's the potential for you guys to have a clean slate and a fresh beginning between the 2 of you. But the only issue I'm seeing here, which kind of, this is interesting. I always say, like, especially with the soul sessions, to look at your opposite sign because it lets you know your shadow aspects. But I would say for you guys, Virgo, I'm telling people to not cross watch the Pisces reading. Like, I am literally cringing as I'm even telling you this. But I feel like you can garner something from this, whether you have Pisces in your chart or just with it being your opposite sign, with you guys being a Virgo. Don't put too much weight into it, because I don't do these readings, like the you know, connection sessions. I don't do these to be like cross watched and stuff like that. But I feel like Pisces is in a worst case scenario of the energy that I'm seeing with you guys with their person of interest. But I feel like this can kind of give you a schematic to understand what you're dealing with for what I'm about to say, because I feel like you guys' person of interest is on one side of the Likert scale and Pisces person is on the other side of the Likert scale, and they're like worst case scenario. I don't feel like your person is way over there, you know what I'm saying? But in order to give you information to weigh of how it is you should proceed forward, is the commonality that I see here with Pisces is Pisces person had no desire to change whatsoever. And their thought was pretty much Pisces had to do all the work. So it's like, if Pisces wants to stay with me, cool. If they don't, cool. But if we're going to stay together, I'm not doing any work to invest in this, right? Now, what I'm seeing with your person is not to that caliber, but the thing for me that's a tad concerning is that they seem to be very rooted in who and how it is that they are. And the conversation that Virgo needs to have with themselves is that, if, you know, because the stuff that they're dealing with subconsciously, they're not even aware of that. Like, if you tried to tell them, oh, the reason why, you know, you're doing all these hallucinogens, or, you know what I'm saying, or you're jumping out of planes every other weekend, is because you're really unhappy on the inside. Like, you're really truly unfulfilled, and you're projecting that onto me, and you're acting that out in your behavioral patterns of all of this, you know, adrenaline seeking and drugging or whatever, right? If you told that to your person, they'd look at you like you were nuts, probably laugh at you and be like, seriously, like, I'm very happy with my life. Are you kidding me? And then flip it back on to you. Because whenever we're talking about subconscious impressions, we can't be simultaneously conscious and unconscious, you know what I'm saying, of our subconscious. Like it's subconscious for a reason. So none of us are seeing, if we're looking at people and making all of these judgments and stuff like that, it's like we're not consciously aware that this is us mirroring, a secret part of ourselves to other people. You know what I'm saying? So legit, it's like it's imperative to be aware of that. So you shouldn't use that as like a means to say like, oh, well, once they figure out that they're really hurting on the inside, then we'll be fine. It's like I tell you people's subconscious impressions for shits and giggles, to give you a little bit more insight into how it is that this is playing out. But it's useless information because you can't make someone's unconscious conscious. And I feel like that's in the realm of spirit. Like I consider it a date of deliverance. Everyone has one. There comes a time for all of us when spirit makes that which is unconscious conscious to us, and we have the choice to see that, recognize that in ourselves, and work with that, or we have a choice not to. But it's not something you should like bank on, you know what I'm saying? So keeping that in mind, the headspace that your person is in now is they do care about you. They do feel that there's a future between the two of you, but I feel that it would be very much on their terms, because all of the things that they're thinking about in reference to you is them wanting you to be different than you are now. And I use that example of like being the fun person. It's not saying that it's literally that. It's just the way that you were at one point in time. Like who would resonate with this? It would be a Virgo who, where when you and this person first started out, you were one way. And then now coming into where you guys are in your partnership now, you've kind of shifted. And like my guides were saying, for some of you, it may be that you became moms. You know what I'm saying? And that does create like a shift and a change in how it is that you show up, or maybe you calm down, or, you got sober and you don't drink anymore, like whatever the case may be. But there's something in you that is shifted, and your person is looking at you in that contrast of who you used to be and who you are now, and them wanting you to be more whatever that was about you that was very similar to them. You know what I'm saying? But I don't necessarily feel that this is something that, is dead in the water, because it very well could be, because I mean, I can say that as a mom, it's like now my kid is a teenager. So, and I say that to moms all the time. It's like the first 5 years of your kid's life, like you and your kid are like enmeshed in a sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're a different type of human the first 5 years of your child's life. But as your child starts to hit, adolescence, and they start to get independent, not fully independent, but independent in the sense of like, they have friends and like, little play dates, birthday parties and stuff like that. And, they're kind of starting to grow away from you, especially if you're a mom of boys, right? It's like they start to kind of distance themselves because, they're socializing and things of the sort. It's like it kind of gives you a little bit of selfhood back, you know what I'm saying, to where you're not, leaving the house and you need to pack a diaper bag with 1,000 different things. It's like once you get out of that stage, you start to realize like, oh yeah, I was a person once that, combed my hair and like to look nice, put a little makeup on, a little blush, you start to realize that, and you end up becoming, more yourself again, because you were a human before you were a mom. You were still a human after you were a mom who likes stuff and things and has interests, right? So we all kind of fall into like that little thing. So like in the case that this is the circumstance where it's something similar to this, where like now it's like, your kid's like 12 or something like that, and having sleepovers and things of the sort, and you just got kind of stuck in that mom rut, and you're still there when your kid's like 12. Like that's something I can see that would switch up, because it's like you're just in mommy mode and you need to like, get your little swag back, do a little mommy makeover, whatever, not talking about plastic surgery. I mean like the old school mommy makeovers where you went to just get a haircut, new hair color, that kind of thing. Moving right along. But it's like something like that could kind of shake things up to get you back into like your old groove. So if that was the case, then this is something that could literally be fixable, and how it is that your person would be looking at you would be more or less in the context of like, she's so pretty, she's so gorgeous, but she's, wearing these sweatpants and these sweatshirts. Does she dress cute anymore? So it'd be something kind of like that, but that still doesn't take away from what's motivating your person to do the things that it is that they're doing. And that's, a personal preference thing of how much you're willing to or not willing to deal with that in your particular situation, thing. But I hope in comments, my wonderful Virgos, and I will see you guys friends, and that's probably going to be either in the next what is it, connection session. I totally forgot the next connection session, or it's going the soul session if you don't watch again until I put those out. But yeah, I'm actually just making conversation because my screen froze and I'm trying to end the video and it won't let me. What are you guys doing in the comments? What are y'all talking about? Y'all talking about in the comments? Y'all talking about me? Y'all talk. I'm struggling to end the stream. It's not letting me end it. I guess we're just here. What are you guys talking about in the comments? You guys want to put some cheese emojis in there? Some broccoli emojis for me? In the chat? If y'all could do that. Cheese and broccoli emojis? Only OGs know what that means. I'm going to try to end the live stream again. But if you're still here, thanks for sticking with me while I awkwardly end the live stream.